Hey guys, today's video we are doing top 5 one and done weapons in Call of Duty. These are weapons to be featured in a game and never return. We're doing 5 games: Call of Duty World at War, MW2, Black Ops 1, MW3, and Black Ops 2. So without wasting any more time, let's just get right into it. Coming in at number 5, we have the Nambu from World at War. Now, this is a Japanese pistol, and the thing about this pistol is it was one of the fastest reloading weapons in the game overall. The reason why this pistol was so underrated is because people always compare it to the likes of the Walther P38 or the M1911 when it's actually comparable to the 357 Magnum in terms of power. This is one of the hardest hitting pistols combined with the fastest reload speed for its weapon class in the game. When I compare it to the 357 Magnum in terms of power and bullet penetration, that's also at medium range, with 8 shots in the clip rather than 6, and it was the first weapon you got in the first campaign mission, so one of the most underrated weapons in Call of Duty history, without a doubt. I've always wondered why we only saw the pistol in the first mission, and then we didn't really see it much unless a soldier went into last stand, or you picked it up off the ground. There were much more viable weapons throughout the campaign, but the fact that we had it in the very first mission, the very first weapon we've ever held through one of the most iconic campaigns in history, this pistol should be mentioned at the number 5 spot. Leave a comment down below if you've ever used the Nambu, if this was your go-to weapon. I've always used other pistols, and I did not appreciate how underrated this one was. And I have to say, I really enjoyed getting the gameplay for this number 5 spot. But moving on to number 4, we are going on to MW2. And at the number 4 spot, we have the PP2000, the machine pistol from MW2. Now, if anybody remembers, this was one of the machine pistols that you got on your default class. The default class was the Riot Control class, and it had a huge damage per bullet at 12 meters. This thing killed in 3 bullets at 12 meters. Now, when you obviously got further away, the damage decreased, but it was not a viable weapon, let's say 14 meters out. So this secondary, when you compare it to others in the game, like shotguns, obviously it's not as viable. Shotguns were a borderline primary weapon in this game. But the main thing about the PP2000 was its fire rate. It was one of the fastest shooting secondaries you could have equipped. And if you got into close range gunfights with it, you were winning those gunfights. Even when you landed a headshot, if you landed a headshot, it was 40% extra damage for every bullet that you landed. So if you got into close range and you shot anywhere from the chest up, this gun was winning in 3 bullets or less. So it was a viable secondary for, let's say, a sniper if you're staying, perched up on a balcony or something. But if you put stopping power on the PP2000, the damage per bullet completely goes up to 56, only needing 2 shots to kill at the same range of 12 meters. Think about that. 56 damage per bullet, 12 meters, only 2 shots to kill with stopping power on the PP2000. This is the entry for number 4. Going in at number 3 and Black Ops 1, we have the MPL. I did not choose this weapon because it was good or it's classic. It's just pure nostalgia. This weapon, the aesthetic of it, I absolutely loved it in Black Ops 1. I've seen people use it all the time, and I know for a fact people appreciate this weapon because it was a viable weapon on 5 and in the game when you played zombies. So obviously the weapon was bad. Anything short of 18 meters, you needed 4 shots to kill. The reload speed was quick, but there was only 32 shots in the mag, so with the fire rate, you burned through 32 bullets very quickly. There was no extended mag available for the weapon. There was only fast mags. So when you used this gun in multiplayer, you needed to understand how to move around the map and how to get yourself in those gunfights that you can win. Because, like I said, anything short of 18 meters, you need 4 shots to kill if you're not hitting anything in the head or if you're not shooting from the chest up. This gun is not going to be that viable, but the nostalgia of it, oh my god, it's one of the most iconic weapons in the game, and I feel like it's just underrated. Let me know down in the comments if you feel the same. Coming in at number 2, we have the AS-50 from Modern Warfare 3. I think the reason why we never saw the AS-50 come back to the franchise is because the Barrett was always more popular, so we've always seen that weapon return. But the AS-50 was always hard-hitting when it came to its power. The comparable weapon is the Barrett 50 cal in the game, but the problem with the AS50 was its fire rate wasn't as quick. The Barrett 50 cal, all you had to do was line up your sights in somebody's spawn, hard scope, and just spam the trigger button. The AS50, you can do that, but it was a little harder to do it because of the fire rate. And the recoil pattern was a little bit harder to control than the Barrett too, because it just swayed all the way up after you took a shot. This was a very hard-hitting sniper, so anywhere really from the chest to the neck to the stomach was a one-shot kill. But I would also say a 5-round magazine wasn't that, popular, so I would say extended mags was put on this weapon a lot. But one of the biggest positives of the AS50 was it was a sniper in the game with one of the lowest variable zooms. So with a low variable zoom, you have less sniper sway. So with the less sniper sway, you were able to actually hold down these lanes a lot better initially than you would with another sniper. So if you were using the Barrett, you would need to use your right thumbstick to control the sway to keep your crosshair lined up to where you wanted to shoot. The AS50, you didn't need to do that as much because of a low variable zoom in the scope. And so if you were able to get quick draw, extended mags, and sleight of hand on this thing, and you were able to put yourself in the right situations, you could actually hit insane clips with this. This was one of the most underrated snipers during the game's life cycle, and that's just because it was eclipsed by the L11 and the MSR. Even the Barrett 50 cal, but anybody who's played MW3 when it first came out will tell you this sniper was very good and they probably wanted it back in the future and they're upset they never got it, like myself. I really wanted to see this weapon return in a future game. But going on to the next one, you'll never guess what it is. We are doing the SMR from Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would you put this at the #1 spot? Why in the fuck is the SMR at the #1 spot? And let me tell you why. Thank God we never got this weapon back. Thank God it never returned. This is one of the worst weapons in Call of Duty history. And if it ever returned, I think people would crash out. If you've never played Black Ops 2, you don't understand what I'm talking about. Now, when it came to its damage and the way it performed overall, it was actually a very hard-hitting weapon, very powerful weapon. Almost 60 damage per bullet at any range of 25 meters or less. But the thing about the SMR was not only that it was a semi-automatic shit stain, but you unlocked it at level 46. The weapon with an abysmal fire rate, poor accuracy, extremely high recoil, is unlocked at level 46. Around the likes of the AN-94, M8A1, the SCAR. I mean, it was just not a good weapon to put in the game. And then on top of it, if you wanted diamond assault rifles, you needed to get it gold. The SMR needed to be gold in your weapon class if you wanted the diamond camo, because Black Ops 2 was the first game to introduce it. So if you wanted the camo, there was no getting around it. You needed to use the SMR. Even the zombies community will tell you how bad this weapon is. It wasn't even viable in Call of Duty Zombies. How bad of a weapon is it that you can't shoot zombies in the game, and that the zombies community actually remembers it and still talks about it to this day? They still talk about this weapon to this day, about how bad it was. It gave people PTSD. Imagine you're a zombies player, right? And you're doing a zombies challenge, and you're doing a round 50 SMR challenge. You think you'd ever forget that? Even if you deleted the video or the stream, you think you'd ever forget that? I don't think so. That's how bad the weapon was. So I'm glad that we're putting it here at the #1 spot. It is strictly because this weapon never deserved to come back, and I feel like Treyarch actually knew that. They just remastered a bunch of Black Ops 2 weapons for Black Ops 7. They remade the Cap 40, the MSMC, the M8. It's the same shit every year. But if they actually made a Black Ops 2 remaster, I think people would actually prefer them leave the SMR out. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm pretty sure if they made a Black Ops 2 remaster, people would prefer this weapon be excluded. But that's my take. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. This was a new type of video. Let me know if you want to see more content like this. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.